When you give somebody a title and you give someone's role a title or a responsibility, they will rise to the responsibility of that role. I've just done this in a Google Sheet. And what you do here is you're listing out the different roles that you have. And then basically you're taking what would normally be in their position description, which is a list of responsibilities, and you're just listing down each one of those. Surprise, surprise, each one of those should be documented as a process in your process documentation. And so in your systems library or your process library or your intranet or your whatever you're going to call it, your SOP library, these are all of the systems and processes that you're going to have documented. But your team are going to be the ones who are doing the documentation. Very, very important. We're going to be working with our teams to actually document these, so you are not basically shouldered with the burden of doing all of these yourself. The last thing that you will do is on the right-hand column here, link to Genius in that article. See that? So every time one of these processes is documented, we'll have a link dropped in there. And so that's basically, so I can delegate this to Claire. One of Claire's 90-day plans is to systemize and document everything in the marketing team top to bottom, because the last marketing manager did it, but we've rebuilt the team and we've rebuilt a lot of the structure. Claire's responsibility is to make sure everything is documented from every member of that team, and then each link to each article that we create inside our intranet will just be linked in here as she goes along the process. So this is basically a bit of a scrappy way of managing the process of getting everything documented and giving that responsibility to someone to make sure that it actually gets done. An important little note there is if you use someone's role rather than their name, what that does is it empowers your team to step into the responsibility of that role. If you say, hey, Mary is our bookkeeper and she comes in a couple of times a week and does the books, that's less responsibility than Mary is a project manager, or Mary is a senior support consultant, or Mary is a executive assistant. When you give somebody a title and you give someone's role a title or a responsibility, they will rise to the responsibility of that role. And it's quite useful for management as well, because, if someone's outside of what you'd like to have performance-wise in that role, you can sit them down and say, hey, you know what, how you're showing up right now is outside of what I would expect of someone who holds the title of finance manager or project manager or sales consultant. And so that then kind of makes it more about the role and the responsibility than about you're a terrible person, which is not the way that we want to give feedback. So I really like that. Also gives you the practical ease of if someone moves on from your business and you bring somebody else in, they're stepping into a role. You don't have to go and update 3 different processes that say, oh, Bob no longer does this process. Now this process is always done by the finance manager or by the sales executive or the sales consultant. Now, if you're a founder, you probably don't give a shit about roles because you're just the everything person, right? You're on 300 places on the org chart, so you don't care, but your team do care. It's important to your team for career progression. It's important the role that shows up on their resume. It's important to them the role that shows up on their LinkedIn, because that's someone developing their career is a sense of pride. If you're an entrepreneur, I understand that roles don't really matter because we're toilet paper roll changer, we're do everything in the business, we've got to do all those things. That's just how the world is, but it is important for your teams.
If you like this content, please hit subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we go live or drop new content on the channel. Now, if you'd like to connect with us, hit us up on social media or join our free community group. All the links to that are right below this video. If you'd like to learn more about Google Workspace and the technology ecosystem, you can join our free Genius Academy by transferring your billing across to itGenius. Or you can join a Workspace Basics Bootcamp. Now, if you're a business owner and you're interested in an audit on your technology stack or your Workspace account, or you're looking to do a project in the tech world, well, you can take advantage of our free consultation. And if you need help right now, then consider joining Concierge or taking up a quick fix with our team for professional support for your tech stack.